This is the Hocking College Computer Science webcast. I'm doing this live on YouTube for the first time, and I'm actually recording it here on the Anchor podcast. So we'll see how this goes. This may flop. That's okay. So I'm just going to do this the week, not the week in review, but it's the week coming up. Preparation and just kind of a few things that's happening and what's going on here at Hocking College this week in the Web and App degree. So we have our advisory board this evening. It is where we speak with, where we invite people to come in. We already have an advisory board panel, and they are representatives from companies in Columbus area, from here down in Athens. They are developers, they are recruiters, they are teachers. There's a wide variety of people that we have here coming to our advisory board meeting this evening. Some attending remotely, like through video conference from the Columbus region. A lot of them are. One's coming from London, which I thought was kind of cool. And we have some people coming here in person. It includes one of our students, the second year web dev students. She's going to be here as well and just talk about her experience as a student. So the idea is that we get a good, I want to say variety. That may or may not be the best word. We get a good breadth of in regards to what is needed in the field that changes really quick, and what we can do to better improve the education and the outcomes for our students. So that's this evening. It's always fun. I did my first one last year because I've only been here at Hocking. I think my LinkedIn says a year and 7 months or something. And it's fun. I enjoy it. So let's see what else we got going on. I'm still doing the CS50. I'm doing it personally. My goal is that what I was thinking about doing is offering this for the summer for the community as free classes during the summer, just to kind of keep the brain working a little bit, because I know sometimes whenever during the summer happens, our brain kind of goes dormant. And I thought that it would be nice to be able to have an outlet for people who are going to continue to learn and to grow. And CS50 is Harvard University's computer science program. And I've been taking the classes. They do new ones every year. And it's a fun way. I really like the instructor. I really like the content. I think it's engaging, and it's something that it's easy to learn with, and it's not so deathly dull, which sometimes, some content out there can be. So let's see what else I got going on. I am working on a Python certification because we're going to be bringing Python into our curriculum probably next year. And we're also working on, I got a couple of things I'm working on in regards to content marketing strategy. It's something that we're doing, that I use Hubspot Academy as a resource to help with my content marketing skills. And as relevant for the classes, I try to share those resources with the students. Sometimes I make it you have to get the certification as part of your grade. Sometimes I make that as a requirement, and sometimes not. I just share this, like, this is something you might want to look into. And, for each their own. And I got a coffee shop that is wanting me to create a website for them. It's just going to be a simple website, just the menu. I don't know if there's a way to embed that into our class right now, because we got other projects going on, and this should be simple enough. I got a couple of students actually working on a website now. And I've been, I've been helping with in person once or twice a week, and she's making some good progress. And another one just reached out to me at the end of last week asking for some tips on what she can do to create a website. And I mentioned a couple of different things that she can do, like a template, like we've already gone over templates in class the first time around, or last semester. And what I told her what we were going to be doing for the second 8 weeks whenever I have her back in class is something called Webflow. And it's just another type of tool to create websites. The experiment, or the analogy that I gave to her, and I told her what I was going to do whenever classes resume, is have half the students with their phones, which has a calculator obviously, and half of the students with just pen and paper. and give them some random math problem like 1427 times 35, and have one person do it, have the half with the calculator, do it on there, and have the half with the pen and paper, do it with pen and paper, and see which one gets the answers first. And unless I have any math geniuses in there, I have some good smart math people in there, but I don't know if I have any math geniuses that can get it just like that, like a calculator can. The one's going to come the fastest is the one that has the calculator, right? And the most correct answer. And I make that as a comparison on using resources like Webflow, WordPress, even though I'm not a fan of WordPress, and templates. You have those resources, utilize them. It's great if it's good to know the basics. It's good to know the fundamentals. So if something gets stuck, something doesn't work right, you have the knowledge to be able to kind of go through it, as opposed to just being, standing there dead in the water, not sure why something isn't working or where to go to try to figure out how to make something to work. So it's good to know the fundamentals and the basics, but in the reality, time is money. If you have clients that don't have the funds to invest in something that requires a skill to create a custom website, for the developer's time, the developer's skill, developers' resources, all of those things, then a template might be the best thing for them. And it's kind of it varies upon the occasion, it varies upon the kind of job it is, it varies upon the kind of resources that are available. There's all kinds of variables, and sometimes, like in my particular instance, and I did a poll on this in Twitter last night, and I thought it was kind of interesting. See, where I live, my internet is not reliable, and I just kind of given up on it. Whenever I need to be on the internet, get some work done, I just don't even try to do it at home. I just go to a coffee shop, and yesterday I went to McDonald's because all the coffee shoppers were closed. So I'm looking on my Twitter, and where I'm going with this is the fact that, and when you don't have reliable internet, if you're creating something on Webflow, it's internet based. So if you don't have internet, it's not going to work. But I'm also creating an AWS landing page, or AWS Academy landing page for the AWS Academy that we're having here. And it's just going to be a page, a website, a couple web pages probably. Just having the information, the content, and what it is, and all that stuff for the AWS Academy, just as a referral, as opposed to just having somebody, text me, which is fine, but not everybody wants to do that. And so I was wanting to work on that last night when I got home, and I was, finally leaving McDonald's, and I know I just don't have the reliable Wi-Fi to do that. So what I did, is I used a template. And so I just went on to a template resource, found a template that I liked, downloaded it to my laptop. And then I, just started playing with it at home, because I can see the effects, like the changes. I took the template and then I customize it for my needs. And I just being on my local server on my local computer, I don't need internet access. So I can make those changes and see those changes in action. And then whenever I'm actually have some good connectivity, whether I'm here at work, a coffee shop, McDonald's, I can, do whatever I need the internet connectivity for, whether it's to get some more resources that just I can't access, or just to put it somewhere to be hosted. That's what I was trying to think. So I mentioned, like I said, I'm doing this poll on Twitter. And I asked yesterday was, when creating a simple website, now this is a simple website, do you prefer Webflow, using templates, or from scratch? And I said, I like Webflow or templates. And then I tweak it by using straight coding. Because sometimes, when you're using something like Webflow, it's like it's a visual editor, and it's a really great tool, and I really like it. But sometimes, like, they get to the point where it's like, this is not working. I know how to do this manually, but for some reason it's not working here. I'm just getting frustrated with it. So you export the code, and then you just do it manually. Anyways, so, and then what's the biggest deciding factor? It's like, for me, my I asked what the biggest deciding factor is. And I said, what my internet is like is one of the deciding factors for me. If it's poop, I download templates and work locally from that. So the poll, the potential answers that I have are Webflow, templates, from scratch, and other. So Webflow took the majority of this so far. I think it closes in 13 hours. And there's 67 votes so far. So Webflow is at 60%. Templates is 6%. From scratch is 30%. And others 4%. I should have asked what other was. But I thought that was interesting. So the majority of them do Webflow, and then some like from scratch. And I'm actually listening to a podcast from HTML Things. This was just which is a podcast that I'm liking to listen more and more. It's something that I listen pretty much on a regular basis anymore, whenever they come out with new episodes. And the conversation that I'm listening to today, it actually, I think, came out early January, was the using templates versus custom websites. And, the relationship between that, when is a good time to use a template, and when is a good time to use a custom website. And they talk about a variety of different reasons as to why you would use one or the other. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, and the whole podcast is interesting, I'll put it in the link in the show notes or whatever comment section for the podcast and this webcast. Like I said, it's the first time me doing this. And one of the things that they were talking about is like the time that it takes to do a custom website, and the skill, how knowing, all the frameworks and the codings of straight coding of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all that stuff. But the other thing that takes into consideration, if you're doing straight coding and not doing something through Webflow, WordPress, or template, is the design aspect. I am not a designer. I just am not. And that is probably one of the hardest things for me to do. I see a white piece of paper and I'm like, I have no idea what to put on there. Like, give me something and I can do it, the code, but I am not the visual person. And because what happens is I start putting something on there and I second guess myself to like the nth degree, and then I just get frustrated and I quit. So it's important that we realize like our strengths and our weaknesses. And I talk about that in class. Like, what's our strengths and what's our weakness? I'm not a designer. Sometimes I will use a template, and it's kind of comical because I take a template and I have this particular idea. It's like, it's not a blank piece of paper. And then I do customize it to the point where it doesn't really resemble the template anymore, but it's an iteration process. I start making these changes, but I cannot start from a blank piece of paper, so to speak. So anyway, so that's what's happening here at Hocking College this week in our web and app program. We got an advisory board meeting, and we're working on websites, and we're doing cool stuff like that. So if you have any questions on anything, feel free to reach out to me. My number again is 740-300-1684. Thank you.